Hey there, we're here at CMPX Day 2 in the mechanical business booth. I'm Adam.
And I'm Matthew. Hello, everyone.
We're here today with Aaron from Alltemp Diversitech, and you're more specifically with Fresh-Aire UV, or
I actually manage the Fresh-Aire UV business and the Asurity Condensate business.
Okay.
So from indoor air quality to condensate management, I'm responsible for that.
Like condensing appliance condensate?
Well, to address condensate, so switches, pumps, drain pans, anything
Got
that
it.
you
Okay,
need
I
to
understand.
remove the condensate, I'm the guy.
Cool.
that's indoor air quality has become such a topic, not just in the industry, but across the world since the pandemic, right? And it's changed the way people look at it, and it's changed the way people do things. What's the biggest things that you've seen change since the evolution from pandemic to today?
It's awareness. So I've been doing ultraviolet disinfection specifically for well over 25 years.
Yep.
And giving a presentation to engineers and contractors back in the late 90s and early 2000s, you had a lot of blank faces and there was a lot of education, bringing awareness to technology, bringing awareness to the issue, right?
Mhm.
For air quality, we're building everything tight. We have to do something to bring in fresh outside air or dilute the concentration of biologicals and chemicals and odors that are inside the building. But it was always a challenge to get contractors and even engineers to specify and talk about better air quality. When the pandemic happened, it just brought so much more awareness to the issue, right? Of course, in this case, it was the pandemic, but ultimately we're breathing air that could be dangerous. So what did the pandemic do? Is it brought awareness to IAQ.
Cool. I get that. You mentioned that you've done a whole lot of work with the UV lights. In your opinion, what makes more sense, the sterilization of the UV lights or just standard filtration?
They're two different parts of really a complete IAQ solution.
I agree. Yep.
So, for how we look at it is if we were looking at a cross section of the contaminants we breathe on a daily basis, 35% would be categorized as particles, the dust, the dander, the dirt. The other 2/3, we call it, the bacteria, the viruses, the chemicals, the odors, the VOCs, they pass through a filter like sand through a tennis racket. So it really is complementing a filter with another technology that's able to address all those contaminants that pass through a filter. So they're both designed to work together.
So they work
A filter's
yeah.
not a filter's not an air
They're a
treatment
team.
system, and exactly.
Yeah, 100%. If you were to like kind of look at it as a nutshell, though, HEPA filtration falls into the filtration side. You can catch some pathogens inside of a HEPA, not all of them, obviously. But is that kind of a good 1-2 punch? Is your sterilization light and into the HEPA world, or what do you kind of think about that?
It is. The issue that you run into with HEPA is that it's such a high efficiency, dense filter that not every HVAC system could actually sustain HEPA filtration.
Most of the times I would see HEPA filters installed just kind of on their own in a little self-sensing.
It'd be on their own,
Yeah.
or they would have a supplemental blower in order to compensate for the fact that the system fan is not powerful enough to move the air through a HEPA.
Sure, absolutely, yeah.
But definitely, there is a sweet spot. It might be a MERV 11, a MERV 13, and the inclusion of ultraviolet. And UV, in the case of what we do at Fresh-Aire UV, we have a technology called APCO, and it's an ultraviolet PCO, photocatalytic oxidation system, that not only addresses the viruses, the bacteria, the mold, the microorganisms, but also the VOCs, odors, so cooking smells, pet smells. So it's more than just biological. It's the odor capacity, odor reduction, nuisance odors. So and that's filters don't obviously address that unless it's carbon or adsorption filtration. So it does more than just biologicals.
Okay,
All this talk about VOCs and odors and that kind of thing just makes me think about the indoor air quality here at the show, and even more specifically at the hotel.
Oh.
It doesn't matter what hotel you stay at, but definitely the one I'm at right now here in Toronto is just, I can't believe how dry it is. My lips are dry, my nose is dry. Like it's unbelievable that nobody can figure it out. What do you think something like this should do in order to improve our indoor air quality?
Sure. Well, we have different products designed for different applications. Ultimately, the engine behind the systems are all very much the same. It's ultraviolet disinfection along with our photocatalyst, our APCO technology. But ultimately, from a facility such as this, we have large commercial UV systems that are designed to be installed either in the ductwork or inside the air handler, and ultimately complement what is already happening with the filter. But there's also another part of the component, which is obviously treating the air, disinfecting the air, addressing those contaminants that are in the air. But there's also the equipment itself, the coil, the drain pan, and these are all sources of biological contamination. There's biofilm. and that also introduces odors. And you mentioned hotels, and their P-tax are, I mean, that is such a huge issue. We've all stayed in a hotel that had that smell coming out of the fan coil unit.
You know it immediately. You know exactly what it is as soon as you walk into the room.
Absolutely. So we have small format UV systems that are designed to be installed inside a fan coil or a P-tap to make sure it's clean and sterile. And ultimately, what is that odor? It's sometimes we call it dirty sock syndrome. It's the smell of microbials.
I like that.
Right? They're building in concentration. The blower kicks in and that smell is pushed into the living space, and that's what we smell.
Yeah.
So ultraviolet lights, going back to your original question, in a facility such as this will improve equipment efficiency and continually treat the air. And the same is true for a hotel, as we discussed, and even a residential home. We have a successful line of residential Fresh-Aire UV products that are designed to, once again, complement the filter. We have such a concentration of odors and biologicals that are trapped within the home that we should be opening our windows and doors, bringing fresh air, but it costs money, right? So by using these kinds of technologies, you could efficiently treat the air.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Do you get involved very much with the humidification world as well, or at least kind of like it's humidification is a part of the IAQ inside the building, and there's a couple schools of thoughts that you can get your steam humidification, you can get your flow-through pad humidification. You can get adiabatic humidification. I was wondering, do you have any thoughts on that, about how that kind of works within the world?
It's part of the IQ pillar. There's humidification,
absolutely.
There's ventilation, there's disinfection, right? We don't manufacture humidifiers.
Yeah, just your personal thoughts on it.
But definitely, you want to have the right sweet spot of the right amount of humidification. And that's one of the reasons why in the wintertime with low humidification, it's the flu season, right? It's all connected, and there's no one silver bullet when it comes to IAQ. You have to have the right recipe, the right filter, the right disinfection system, the right humidification, and with that, you're probably doing the best for the occupants.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah, absolutely. When we're talking about ventilation, humidification, there's the other side of it with the fresh air appliances, bringing fresh air into the system.
Yeah, for sure.
And that can drastically improve your indoor air quality as well if you're bringing fresh air, introducing fresh air, as long as you're treating it on the way in, right?
Yeah.
So is that something you guys do, is you can treat the HRV system? And
well, ultimately when you have, it depends on the type of facility and even residentially, when you have a makeup air, you have outside air coming in, that air might be contaminated. We like to mount our UV systems in the supply side. This way, you're already getting the air that's being mixed. So you're treating the outside air and you're treating the inside air. We'll do hospitals and medical facilities where it's 100% outside air, where in those instances, we have to deliver a lot of ultraviolet to the moving airstream at one pass because there's no recirculation, right? With recirculation, you get more neutralization with every pass. So a residential home or a shopping mall, for example, would not need as much UV as a hospital that brings in 100% makeup air versus one that's being recirculated. So it's a very important part of this. And especially if you have, let's say, a facility next to, a restaurant that's, the cooking smells and oils and grease are going into the air, and you have a building next to it bringing in and pulling that into the facility. So we have to be very cognizant about the makeup air unit as well.
Like this. Speaking of UV, I want to kind of circle back to that quickly. There's two myths in the industry that I'm hoping maybe you can take care of once and for all. Myth number one, not myth, sorry, rumor, I suppose you want to call it. Never ever look at a UV light. This is correct, right?
This is true. So there's different frequencies of light, and most manufacturers that are in the ultraviolet disinfection industry are using the 254 nanometer wavelength, and that you never want to subject your eyes or skin to.
Wow.
Why?
Well, it's the science behind ultraviolet, it is the wavelength of light that the sun produces. The sun produces 4 wavelengths of light, A and B, and we're very cognizant about it. Sunscreen, sunglasses protect us from A and B.
Okay.
But the UVC 254 nanometer that we produce is actually absorbed by the ozone layer. We're never subjected. Humans are never subjected to that wavelength of light.
Okay.
Looking at a UVC light would be looking at, it would be a welder's flash. It's the wavelength of light that would be damaging to, it's a damaging, mutating wavelength.
And that's why we use it, because it is powerful and it does mutate and sterilize.
Exactly. Exactly. So you want to just refrain from direct exposure. And that's direct exposure. If there's a UV lamp on that's 12 feet away, it's not an issue. It's like if you're lighting it up right in front of you, you want to make sure. And of course, our products and most UV systems are designed.
As the flash goes off over there.
Yeah, seriously.
They're
designed for unoccupied spaces. So it never is an issue.
For sure, I get that. And the second part of that one is, oh man, I have so many friends in this industry that still do this one wrong. you have to change your UV bulb. Can you expand upon how often and why and kind of where this all comes from? And
Sure.
I don't know if you can even talk about why people think they don't need to. I have no idea where that comes from,
Sure.
but help me unpack this one.
Yeah, so when a UV lamp is on, although we should never look at it, a UV is actually visible. You can't see ultraviolet at 254 nanometer. When you see the blue or the purple glow from a lamp, that's because there's argon in the gas, and that's the visible spectrum of light.
Yep.
So there's the visible spectrum and the invisible ultraviolet. As the lamp ages, there's impurities in the gas, in the mercury vapor gas, that ultimately poisons the UV output. There's also something called solarization that causes coating on the inside of the lamp. So there's a few things that degrade UV output, and over the course of, depending on the lamp, 1 year, 2 year, or 3 year will determine if the lamp has to be replaced. So at Fresh-Aire UV, we have 1 year UV lamps, we have 2 year and 3 year, and each one of those lamps have different technologies that are built into the lamp to enable higher output over a longer period of time. So after 3 years, for example, the lamp's still going to be on. That's the argon, that's the visible.
And that's what people see, and that's why they don't
that's the
change it. They're
challenge.
like, "Oh, light's still on." I'm like, yeah.
That's the challenge, right? So it's to educate, and that's one of the reasons why our latest generation of our APCOX Ultra products have this big LED notification that the unit's blue, saying it's operating properly, and after 3 years of operation, that blue will revert to red, and that's the signal to the homeowner and the technician that, hey, it's time to replace the lamp, because it is a challenge. It's on. Well, it's working, right? Well, it can work for the next 10 years, but the UV output does degrade at 3 years. Time to replace it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like this. That was a good answer.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
We're getting short on time, but one thing I wanted to know: how did you get into the industry?
Oh.
How did you land where you're at?
Yeah, well, my father started a UV company in 1995. I started working with him in 1999. And so it was really a challenging industry to get into. It was an exciting industry, ultraviolet disinfection back in the late 90s.
Yeah.
And it's something that is, it's an exciting aspect of HVAC. From there, obviously, I'm with Diversitech Altam.
Yeah.
And with Fresh-Aire UV, I'm also a member of Asurity. I'm the incoming chair of the TC 2.9 Ultraviolet Committee at Asurity.
Cool.
So it's something that for the last 25, 26 years has been very dear to me.
Yeah, this has been your whole world.
It's my whole world, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see that IAQ and ultraviolet has come to the forefront.
Yeah.
It's just a question of just pushing it a little bit further, that contractors really do get it, and engineers do specify it, but it's getting there.
Getting
Awesome.
there.
Yeah.
Well, with information like this, it's sure to help. So we
Oh, I
appreciate you very
appreciate-
much. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank
Coming
you
and
very
joining
much.
Thanks for coming on the
It's been a
show
blast.
today.
All right. No, I appreciate it very much.
Great chatting
Thank
with
you.
you.
Pleasure. Thanks,
Interesting
guys.
stuff.